Selamun Aleyküm. والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد سيد الأولين محمد يا رسول مدد يا سادات مدد يا رسول الله شاء الله فاز شاء الله مدد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki el-ezan 19 kelimeten ve-l-ikamet 11 kelimeten Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki ezan 19, ikamet ise 11 kelimedir. Yani
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that the adhan consists of 19 words, whereas the iqama consists of 11 words.
o toplam kelimeler yani kat-kamus salah iki kelime daha fazla çıkıyor. 11 şey oluyor.
And the variance of the number of words stems from the fact that during iqama it's also recited kat-kamus salah.
11 kelime. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الإمام ضامن والمؤذن مؤتمن اللهم أرشد الأئمة واغفر للمؤذنين Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki yine imamlık sorumluluk yüklenen kişidir.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that to be the imam and to lead the prayer is a task which carries responsibilities.
Yani imamlık yapmak kolay değil.
It is not easy to be the imam and to lead the prayer.
Sorumluluğu var.
There are responsibilities which need to be fulfilled.
Abdestinden, temizliğinden, kıraatından.
There are the responsibility of cleanliness, of reciting the Quran properly, of paying attention to all of these details.
O sorumluluk bir meseledir.
And therefore, leading the prayer requires the imam to take on all these responsibilities.
Sorumlu yani o imamlık yapacak olan bu sorumluluğu yükleniyor.
And those who lead the prayer as imam must know that as they lead the prayer, they carry the responsibilities for actually having fulfilled and being qualified to lead the prayer.
Müezzin ise güvenilen kişidir. O da müezzinde
the muezzin on the other side needs to be someone who is trustworthy.
Vaktinde ezanı okuyacak.
Because the muezzin must recite the call for prayer, the adhan, punctually.
Onun kâmetini getirecek. O da
and the muezzin must do the iqama properly.
Güvenilir olması lazım.
Therefore, the muezzin needs to be a trustworthy person.
Vaktinde okuması lazım.
Because the muezzin must recite the adhan punctually, right on time.
Vaktinden önce de değil, vaktinden sonra da okuması.
There must be no delay in reciting the adhan, and the adhan may not be recited before its proper time.
Bazı hallerde olmaz.
There are certain circumstances and situations where there cannot be delay and where there cannot be deviation from the proper timing.
Allah'ım Peygamber'e dua ediyor, imamları doğru yoldan ayırma.
And then our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, continues to pray to Allah Almighty, O my Lord, Allah Almighty, please protect the imams and do not make them go astray from the right way.
Müezzinleri de bağışla.
And also, O my Lord, Allah Almighty, please forgive the muezzins.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاث لو يعلم الناس ما فيهن ما أخذنا إلا بسهمة حرصا على ما فيهن من الخير والبركة التأذين بالصلاة والتجهيز بالجماعات والصلاة في أول الصفوف. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki 3 şey vardır ki insanlar bunlarda olan hayır ve bereketi bilseydi.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that there are 3 things which are most precious.
Yani bu 3 şey onları elde etmek için mutlaka aralarında kura çekerlerdi.
And if people knew how precious these three things are, they would make lottery and draw lots who gets the right to these things.
Yani bunları yapsınlar diye kura çekerlerdi. O kadar hayır var bu şeylerde ki.
And there's so much blessing in performing these three things that everyone would want to do it if they knew how precious those things were, and they could not decide who should do it. And since everyone would want to do it, they would need to draw lots and make lottery who gets the right to do it.
Yarışırlar insanlar. Yarışıp da kavga etme yerine kura yaparlardı derdi.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that these three things are so precious that people, if they knew how valuable they are, they would compete with each other, and they would even, but since they could not fight, they would make a lottery and draw lots who would get the right to do it.
Bunlar namaz için ezan okumak, yani
To recite the adhan for prayer,
müezzinlik etmek,
to be the muadhin, is one of these three things.
o da büyük bir şeydir. Birincisi odur.
To be the muadhin, to recite, to call for prayer, that is the first.
İkincisi cuma namazına gitmek.
Second, to go to Juma prayer,
O cuma namazına hazır olmak.
and to be ready and prepared to perform Juma prayer.
Üçüncüsü de birinci saflarda namaz kılmaktır.
And third, to perform the prayer in the first row.
Birinci saf namazda en makbulu odur.
To perform the prayer in the first row is the most accepted.
Onun için ona o kıymeti bilseler yarışırlardı insanlar.
If people knew how valuable these three things are, people would compete with each other to be the ones who do it.
Hatta kura bile yaparlar diyor Peygamber.
And they would not be able to decide who gets to do these things, so that they would be forced to actually draw lots and make a lottery of it.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة أصوات يباهي الله بهن الملائكة الأذان والتكبير في سبيل الله ورفع الصوت بالتلبية. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki üç ses vardır ki Allah onlarla meleklere karşı övünür.
And our beloved Prophet says that there are three sounds or three voices which Allah Almighty is so proud of and so happy with that He praises those three sounds or voices toward His angels.
Birincisi bunlar ezan sesi.
First, it's the sound, the voice of the adhan.
Ezan okuyanın sesine onun Allah meleklere karşı övünür.
Allah Almighty is so happy with the recitation of the adhan that He praises the recitation of the adhan towards His angels.
Yani Allah'ın rızasını kazanmış olur.
And thus the one who recites the adhan obtains the satisfaction of Allah Almighty.
Allah rızası için getirilen tekbir sesi.
And to say takbir for the sake of Allah Almighty, that is what Allah Almighty loves.
Ondan sonra yüksek sesle edilen telbiye sesleri.
And third, He loves the sound and the voice of talbiyah that is made with a loud voice.
Sesidir. Yani lebbeyk Allahümme hacdayken onu yüksek sesle söylemek.
When you perform the Hajj, to recite labbaik, Allah Almighty is pleased to hear this.
O da makbuldür.
And this is accepted by Allah.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة على كثبان المسك يوم القيامة يغبطهم الأولون والآخرون عبد أدى حق الله وحق مواليه ورجل يؤم قوما وهم به راضون ورجل ينادي بالصلوات الخمس في كل يوم وليلة. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki kıyamet gününde misk tepeleri üzerine 3 kişi vardır ki öncekiler ve sonrakiler onlara gıpta edecektir. Yani kıyamet günü Allah'ın hikmeti, o misk amber bazı öyle tepelerle oluyor. Onların üzerinde olur bunlar, o kadar ikram olunan kişilerdir ki.
On the day of judgment, there will be special people who will be on the top of the hills of musk. So on the day of judgment, there will be hills of musk, and there will be special people who will be on those hills.
Bunlar birincisi Allah'a ve Efendisine karşı görevlerini getiren köle, yani şimdi köle kalmadı, yani onlar Allah Azze ve Celle Efendisine de karşı görevlerini yerine getirmiş köle, yani eziyet görse bile köle o görevini yapmış köle birinci sırada gelir.
And the first who will be standing on those hills of musk on the day of judgment are, these days slaves no longer exist, but our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the slaves who fulfill the order of Allah Almighty and also fulfill their responsibilities towards their masters are the ones who will be standing on those on those hills of musk on the day of judgment.
Cemaata imamlık yapıp kendisinden razı olunan imam.
Second, those who lead the prayer as imam and to fulfill their duty in a way that the Jama'ah is happy with them, they too will be standing on the hills of musk on the day of judgment.
Cemaat imamlık yapıyor. Cemaat da hoşnut ondan. Ondan bir şikayetleri yok. O ikincisidir.
So second are, as said, those imams who lead the prayer and with whom the Jama'ah is happy and satisfied with, and about whom the Jama'ah has no complaints, they will be the second who will be standing on the hills of musk.
Üçüncüsü gündüz ile gece 5 vakit namaz için çağrı yapan müezzindir.
And next, those standing on those hills are the muezzins who call for prayer 5 times a day, night time and daytime.
Bunlar kıyamet gününde misk amber tepeler üstünde olacaklar.
On the day of judgment, they will be standing on the hills of musk.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة على كسبان المسك يوم القيامة لا يهولهم الفزع ولا يفزعون حين يفزعون الناس رجل تعلم القرآن فقام به يطلب وجه الله وما عنده ورجل نادى في كل يوم وليه 5 صلوات يطلب وجه الله وما عنده ومملوك لم يمنعه رق الدنيا من طاعة ربه. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem gene buyuruyor ki kıyamet gününde misk tepeler üzerine 3 kişi vardır ki.
Again, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that on the day of judgment there will be 3 types of people on the hills of musk.
Onlar ne korku kaplar.
And they will have no fear on the day of judgment.
Ne insanların korkuya kapıldığı an bir korkuya kapılırlar.
And they will not be struck by fear in the moment when everyone else will be afraid.
Yani o kıyamet günün korkusu, dehşeti, yani insanın korkmaması imkansız.
And it is impossible to not be fearful and to not be afraid of the torment of the day of judgment.
Bunlar hiç ne korku var ne başkaları gibi yani en ufak bir korku yok diyor.
However, they will have no fear and they will not be afraid. They will not be like the others.
Bunlardan biri Kur'an öğrenip sadece Allah rızasını gözeterek onunla amel eden.
Who are these 3 types of people who will not face fear on the day of judgment? It is those who, for the sake of Allah Almighty, learn the Holy Quran and live accordingly.
Yani öğrendikleri din bilgilerini onu öğrenip hem ondan amel eden.
It is those who learn about the requirements and the responsibilities and duties of religion and who practice what they have learned.
İkincisi, biri Allah rızasını, nimetlerini gözeterek gündüz ve gece 5 vakit namaz için çağrı yapan müezzin. O da yani o kıyamet günü korku olmaz. Ona hiçbir şey tesir etmez. Durumun dehşeti, durumun zorluğu hiç ona tesir etmez. Çünkü onlar emindir o şeyler.
And second, those who will be in safety, and those who will not face fear on the day of judgment, and those who will not be affected by the terror and violence on the day of judgment are the muezzins who have called for prayer 5 times a day, day and night.
Biri hem Allah'a hem efendisine karşı görevini hakkıyla eda eden köledir.
And third, it is the slave who has fulfilled his responsibilities towards Allah Almighty and his master.
Hani köledir diye Allah'a isyan etmez, ben köleyim falan yok. Yani Allah'ın kısmetine razı olmuş, boynunu eğmiş.
It is the slave who does not rebel and does not come up against his Lord Allah Almighty, but is happy and pleased with his Lord Allah Almighty, even though he has been made a slave.
Efendisine hizmet etmiş.
And he is happy to be a slave, and he's satisfied with his condition, and he fulfilled all his responsibilities towards his master.
O da üçüncü şeydir. Dünyada eziyet çekmiş, kölelik çekmiş ama ahiretini kazanmış.
They are the third category. They may have suffered hardship throughout their lives as slaves in this world, but in return they have obtained the hereafter.
Dünyada az bir vakit o şeyleri çekmiş ama ahirette insanın çekecekleri çok daha uzun süredir.
They have undergone hardship in this life, but this life is short, and compared to the hereafter, this life is not to be considered to be long, but it's short, and the torment in the hereafter and the sufferings in this world is nothing compared to the sufferings or torment one may undergo in the hereafter.
قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ثلاثة يظلهم الله في ظله يوم لا ظل إلا ظله التاجر الأمين والإمام المقتصد وراعي الشمس بالنهار. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki 3 kişi vardır ki Allah onları kendi gölgesinden başka hiçbir gölgenin bulunmadığı bir günde, kıyamet gününde kendi gölgesi altında gölgelendirecektir.
There are 3 types of people. Allah Almighty says, according to our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that there will, on the day of judgment, where there will be no shelter, no shadow, except the shadow which Allah Almighty provides, and when everyone else will be seeking a shadow to hide from the heat of the judgment day, it will be 3 types of people who will find shelter under the shadow of Allah Almighty.
Yani kıyamet günü öyle şimdi çadır, tente falan, ağaç hiçbir şey yok.
On the day of judgment, there will be no cover, there will be no shadows to shelter, there will be no tents, there will be no trees, nothing.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin hususi yerler var, onların gölge yaptıkları yerler var.
There will be specially designated places which will provide shelter and which will give shadow on the day of judgment.
Onlar bu bazı insanlar var. Bunlardan da bunlar 3 kişi vardır ki birincisi gene bunlar emin tüccar. Yani sahtekar tüccar değil de.
And who are these 3 types of people who will find shelter on the day of judgment? It is the businessmen, the tradesmen who are trustworthy.
Hakkıyla ticaret eden, helaliyle ticaret eden tüccardır birincisi.
First of all is the tradesmen who do not cheat but are trustworthy and perform trade and business with their consciousness.
Adil lider, bu da mühimdir.
Then it's the leader who acts with justice.
Adil lider de şey yapmak zor, her zaman zordur adil lider olmak.
And second, it's the leader who is just, and to be a just leader is something that is not easy, to act with justice.
Onun için o da ikincisi odur. Ne kadar iş zorsa o kadar daha şey var, sevabı var.
So the more difficult things are, the greater the reward will be.
Mükafatı var. Ve Allah rızasını gözeterek müezzinlik yapan kimsedir.
And thirdly, it's the muazzin who observes his responsibility towards Allah Almighty.
O da gene müezzinler için. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم خاصتان معلقتان في أعناق المؤذنين للمسلمين صيامهم وصلاتهم. Yani burada Müslüman Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki Müslümanların iki hasleti, yani iki zaruri şeyi vardır ki müezzinlerin boyunlarına takılmıştır. Yani onların o ezan vaktinde bunların Müslümanlar oruçları ve namazlarıdır. Yani orucu sabah namazını, sabah ezanını okuyunca artık bir şey yemez. Akşam da okununca orucunu açar. Ondan önce okursa orucu bozar insanların. Onun çok mühimdir.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that the muazzin carries two responsibilities on his neck. It is the adhan to be recited for Fajr, and it is the adhan recited for Maghrib. And these need to be punctual, because those who fast will orient themselves and will fast according to the adhan. They will stop eating when they hear the adhan for Fajr, and they will break their fast when they hear the Maghrib adhan. So the muazzin carries the heavy responsibility on his neck to recite the adhan punctually, so that the Muslims can fulfill their responsibility of fasting.
Bu bir de namaz vakitleri içindir, mühimdir.
And of course, the adhan is so important because it appoints the time when the prayer is to be performed.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دخلت الجنة فرأيت فيها جنابذ من اللؤلؤ ترابها المسك فقلت من هذا يا جبريل قال المؤذنين والأئمة من أمتك يا Muhammed sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki cennete girdim. Peygamber Efendimiz cenneti gezdi bu İsra Miraç zamanında.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, describes that he entered paradise throughout his journey of Isra and Miraj.
Başka vakitler tabi Peygamber Efendimiz her zaman şey yapıyor. Cennete girdim ve orada inciden kubbeler gördüm. Toprağı miskti.
And there in paradise I saw domes made of pearls, and the ground of them was made of musk.
Peygamber Cibril Aleyhisselam sormuş. Ey Cibril, bunlar kimindir?
And then I asked Jibril Aleyhisselam, who is the owner of these domes?
Diye sorduğumda ey Muhammed sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem, bunlar ümmetinden müezzinler ve
And then Jibril responded, these domes belong to the muazzins.
imamlar içindir karşılığını verdi.
And they belong to the muazzins, and they belong to the imams who led the prayer.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لو يعلم الناس ما في النداء والصف الأول ثم لم يجدوا إلا أن يستهموا عليه لاستهموا ولو يعلم ما في التهجير لاستبقوا إليه ولا يعلم ما في العتمة والصبح لأتوها ولو حبوا. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki şimdi bu insanlar buna kıymet vermiyor, hiç buna ehemmiyet vermiyor. İnsanlar ezan okumak ve namazda birinci safta bulunmaktan dolayı neler olduğunu bilselerdi.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says about the importance of reciting the adhan and taking one's place in the first row of prayer, And these are two things which people do not take seriously and do not attach any value.
Sonra bunları yapabilmek için kura çekmek zorunda kalsalardı, kura çekerlerdi.
If people knew the value, they would struggle and compete with each other to be the first to recite Adhan or to be the first to sit in the first row. And since everyone would want to be the first, they would even need to draw lots in order to determine who would get the chance to do it.
Yani o kadar şeyler, ilk hem ezan okumak hem ezan yapmak, birinci safta olmak.
It is therefore so valuable to perform the Adhan and to be in the first row during prayer.
Cemaatte. Ve eğer cemaate erken yetişmekte neler olduğunu bilselerdi, birbirine yetişlerdi.
And if they knew, our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says how valuable it is to be punctual and to go to prayer right on time, they would have competed with each other to go to prayer first.
Yarışa girerlerdi.
They would race to prayer.
Eğer yatsı namazıyla sabah namazında neler olduğunu bilselerdi ki bu iki namaza emekleyerek olsa bile gelirlerdi.
And if they knew how valuable Isha prayer and Fajr prayer are, then they would come crawling.
Yani zaten yatsıya da millet gelebiliyor da sabaha hiç gelemiyor.
People have a hard time going to Isha prayer and they do not even consider coming to Fajr prayer.
Şimdi yani o zor olduğu halde bu kıymetini bilselerdi hasta yürüyemese bile sürünerek giderdi diyor Peygamber.
And our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that if people knew how valuable those two prayers are, even if they were sick or could not walk, they would come crawling.
Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. قال Resulullah sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem لو يعلم الناس ما لهم في التأذين لتضارب عليه بالسيوف. Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem buyuruyor ki insanlar ezan okumakta kendileri için sevap olarak neler olduğunu bilselerdi onun sevabına ermek için
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says that if people only knew how valuable and how great the rewards are for reciting Adhan,
kılıçlarla vuruşurlardı yani.
Then they would compete with each other, fighting with swords with each other.
Yani ve o kadar kıymeti var, cevherden daha kıymetli.
It is so valuable, more valuable than diamonds or jewels.
Altından daha kıymetli.
More valuable than gold.
Onun için birbirlerine dövüşürler diyor Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem.
Therefore they would wrestle with each other to recite the Adhan. Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says,
Sadaka Resulullah fîmâ kâle ev kemâ kâle. زيادة إلى شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه الكرام وإلى أرواح جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين خدماء شرائعهم وإلى أرواح الأئمة الأربعة وإلى أرواح مشايخنا في طريقة النقشبندية العلية خاصة إمام طريقة غوث الخليقة خواجة بهاء الدين محمد ويسير البخاري سيدنا عبد الخالق الغجدواني مولانا الشيخ شرف الدين دارستاني مولانا الشيخ عبد الله فاز دارستاني مولانا الشيخ محمد ناظم هذا الحقاني وسائر ساداتنا والصديقين ومن حضرتهم حسين الدين وفائقاهي وعظم الفترة بجملة من geçmişler Allah'ın ve şehit şühedalar Allah rızası için. Teala el-Fatiha.